Have you ever wondered why we go bananas or what a second bite of the cherry really means? Welcome to a fruitful exploration of English idioms, those quirky phrases that spice up our everyday language. Today we're sinking our teeth into fruit idioms, specifically to go bananas, a second bite of the cherry, and sour grapes. Idioms, in essence, are expressions that convey a specific meaning, one that is often unrelated to the literal interpretation of the words themselves. They're the zest in the language lemonade, the cherry on top of a conversation sundae. Their usage adds color, character, and a dash of cultural flavor to our dialogues. They're the linguistic equivalent of a secret handshake, a nod to those in the know. Understanding idioms not only enriches your language skills, but also offers a glimpse into the culture and history that birthed them. So, are you ready to take a juicy bite out of these fruit idioms? Now brace yourselves as we peel back the layers of these fruity phrases. First up, we have the phrase to go bananas, but what does it mean to go bananas? Well, contrary to what you might think, it's not about turning into a piece of fruit. Instead, when we say someone has gone bananas, we're saying they've become very excited or angry. Think of it as a colorful way to describe a heightened emotional state. You'd be forgiven for thinking this phrase has its roots in the wild antics of monkeys when they see bananas. But the truth is, it has a much more human origin. The term banana was used as slang for crazy in the 1960s, and let's be honest, the 60s were a wild time full of free spirits and radical ideas. So it's not a big leap to see how banana could have come to mean crazy. But how does this translate into our everyday conversation? Let's imagine you're at a concert. The band strikes the opening chords of their biggest hit and the crowd goes wild. You could say, the audience went bananas when the band started playing their hit song. Or perhaps you're watching a football match and your team scores the winning goal in the last minute. You could exclaim, my brother went bananas when our team scored the winning goal. On the flip side, this phrase isn't only used to describe excitement. It can also be used to express anger. For instance, if your neighbor's dog has been barking all night keeping you awake, you might say, I nearly went bananas because of that noisy dog. The beauty of this idiom is its versatility. It can be used to describe a range of emotions, and it adds a bit of fun and color to our language. So the next time someone is overly excited or angry, you can say they've gone bananas. Next on the list is a second bite of the cherry. Isn't it intriguing? This idiom, full of promise and optimism, means being given another opportunity to achieve something. The imagery is quite vivid, isn't it? Imagine having a delicious cherry, taking a bite, and then being given the chance to relish it once again. Now let's dive into its origins. This idiom hails from Britain and started gaining popularity in the late 20th century. Despite its relatively recent origin, it has become deeply ingrained in English conversations, enriching our language with its fruity flavor. Let's see how we can use this idiom in our daily chit-chat. Picture this. You've been working on a project at work, and despite your best efforts, things didn't go as planned. Your boss, however, sees your potential and gives you another chance to lead a similar project. You could say, my boss gave me a second bite of the cherry by assigning me to another project. Or consider you've been rehearsing for a play but missed the audition due to an unexpected situation. Fortunately, the director schedules another round of auditions, and you can express your gratitude by saying, I'm so thankful for a second bite of the cherry, I won't miss this audition. Remember, if you get a second bite of the cherry, make the most of it. Last but not least, let's explore sour grapes. What could this possibly mean? Well, when someone is said to have sour grapes, it means they're pretending to despise something they cannot have. It's like a child who, after failing to reach a jar of cookies on a high shelf, decides they weren't that interested in the cookies after all. They might even go as far as saying, those cookies probably aren't that tasty anyway. The phrase sour grapes actually comes from one of Aesop's fables, a story that's been passed down for centuries. In this tale, a fox tries desperately to reach a bunch of grapes hanging high in a vine. After several failed attempts, the fox gives up and walks away, claiming that the grapes were probably sour anyway. Hence, the idiom sour grapes was born. Now, how can we use this in daily conversation? Imagine your friend applied for a promotion at work but didn't get it. Later, you hear them saying, oh, I didn't want that promotion anyway. It would have meant more stress and less free time. That, my friends, is a classic case of sour grapes. Or consider a sports fan who, after their team loses a match, claims they didn't care about the game anyway. That's another example of sour grapes. So the next time you hear someone belittling something they can't have, you'll know it's just sour grapes. Fruit idioms, aren't they appealing? As we've seen today, these idioms add a dash of color and fun to our everyday conversations. We've learned that to go bananas doesn't involve any actual bananas, but rather it's a quirky way to express going crazy or getting overly excited. Then we had a second bite of the cherry, a delightful phrase that means getting another chance at something. And who could forget sour grapes? A term used to express disdain for something one cannot have, tracing its roots back to Aesop's fables. Understanding these idioms is not just a fun exercise, it's an important part of language learning. Idioms give us a unique insight into how a language works and the culture it comes from. They help us communicate more effectively and naturally, making our conversations more engaging and enjoyable. So the next time you come across these idioms, you won't be in a jam. Remember, practice makes perfect. Keep using these idioms and soon they'll be the apple of your eye.